Well, thank you so much. The Bisek family has joined me, making the trip in this morning. Good morning, family.
Good morning.
Hello, everybody. We have Super Sophie here. Olivia is here. Mandy and Curtis. It's so good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
You know, we miss you throughout the year because sometimes it's almost a year, unless we bump into each other as, you know, we're around this area. How's everybody doing?
Great.
We're good. Are you
Okay.
good?
I'm good.
You feeling good, Sophie? Good. Excellent. You know, before we get things rolling here, you're going to be staying with us for another hour. You want to tell us a little bit what you're going to be doing next hour?
Well, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Marquardt.
Tell us why. Do you have a good relationship with Doctor?
Yes.
And how come? What does she do for you?
Well, she is my doctor, and she helps me with my diabetes when I come in for appointments.
And you have some questions that you want to ask her.
Yes, I do.
It'll be interesting to see what her answers are going to be, don't you think?
Yeah.
How long were you working on the questions for?
Well, you showed me them.
Yeah, you worked on them together?
Yep.
Okay. All right. We're going to be very excited to hear that interview, too. But we're going to start out and we're going to learn your story. And so maybe we'll ask Mandy, we'll ask Mom to start the story, and Dad can jump in there, too. Is that all right with you? And are you okay with us talking about you? You okay with that? All right. You know what? While we're talking here, we already have 6 phone calls that have come in.
My
You
goodness.
barely hit the couch, and we've got 6 calls. It's 608-784-KIDS. You're listening to the Radiothon with the Bisek family. And Mandy, tell us about how Super Sophie's story begins.
Sure. So nearly 5 years ago now, Sophie she was 5 at the time in kindergarten. Sophie just wasn't herself. You know, we noticed in the winter that she was eating a lot, drinking a lot, going to the bathroom a lot, just kind of wasn't herself. And as time went on, there was a particular day where she had spent the night at Grandma and Grandpa's for a slumber party. And the next day, Grandma said to us, I think something's up. Sophie's just not herself. It really seems like she's lost some weight. She was super lethargic, just not her happy-go-lucky self that she always had been. And so that was the point. We, made a doctor's appointment. And that was the day that we found out that the signs that we had been seeing that seemed a little off for Sophie were the telltale signs of type 1 diabetes.
Did it surprise you?
It did. I mean, our family really hasn't had anybody that has been close to us that has had diabetes. So we didn't realize, what was going on right before our eyes. And so
Curtis, what did you think about that when you heard that news?
I think I didn't handle it as well as Mandy did. I was in shock. I actually didn't believe it at first. We had to ask for a second opinion almost.
Did you think it just couldn't possibly be that? It was something else?
You never expect it to happen to your family. You never predict that that's going to happen. So when you get that news, it's very shocking. Yeah.
And what happened after that? It had to be a whirlwind after that.
It certainly was. Yeah, like Curtis said, I mean, we went into that doctor's appointment that day thinking, we're going to get a prescription and things are going to be fine and we're going to go home and she's going to get better and all is going to be good, because that's what doctor's appointments were up to that point in her life.
That's right.
But no, that particular day we were whisked off into the hospital. Sophie spent the next few days in the hospital while we got insulin into her body, which was kind of amazing to watch that process, knowing that that's what her body was craving so badly. And the minute that it got it, our Sophie was back. By the time we exited that hospital in those 3 days, our Sophie was back, but we went home with a whole new normal that day.
And coming into that appointment that day, I bet you hadn't packed.
Oh,
I
gosh,
bet
no.
things had
It
not.
snowed about 4 inches, 4 or
that's
5
right.
inches
Of
that
course
day.
it did,
Yeah.
because you would be doing this during a snowstorm.
Yep.
Thinking that getting up that morning, that routine is going to be normal, and things that you do at the end or the beginning of the day or tomorrow or the next day would be right on line and on track. Not the case.
Not the case
You
at
didn't
all.
come home. You were in the hospital for 3 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's where the education process obviously needs to happen.
Yeah.
I understand that, but you were not planning for this.
Not at all. Nope.
Well, and to that point, that's where CMN stepped in right away. I mean, you get admitted to the hospital not planning to be here. And I didn't even have my wallet for my car, which was a 10, 12-minute walk away, and then I had to walk through the snow to get there. So we didn't have money for food, for lunch, for anything like that, and that's where they stepped in right away with the food vouchers.
first time you had heard of Children's Miracle Network at that point, or had you heard of them prior?
No.
We had certainly heard about Children's Miracle Network prior to this, had friends that had benefited from it and through our work and through the community, but this was the first time that it touched us personally.
Difficult to accept the help? Easy to accept the help?
Especially in that first point when the meal vouchers showed up at our doorstep, it was one of those things that we didn't know that we needed it until it was there. Right? From there, it is a humbling experience to definitely ask for help, but CMN has made it so open and so warm and so welcoming that, it's helped us a lot since that first day in the hospital, and we're so appreciative for that.
So you're coming home after 3 days. Now your life is going to be a lot different. Nutritional wise, what else changed during that time?
Well, those first 3 days were definitely, Mom and Dad learned to be nurses and doctors, and that was not what we were intending to have to do with the rest of our lives here. But, learning to do shots, learning to bolus insulin, learning to count carbs, all of those things happened in those first 3 days at the hospital. And I often tell the story of that first day that we got home, and it was all on us, right? So that first morning, we woke up in our own beds, and breakfast was before us, and I had never looked at making a meal in this way before. So making pancakes that morning and having to know what carbs were in those pancakes and know what level of insulin to give Sophie for those pancakes just made mealtime different than it ever had been before, because I knew her little life was in our hands in those just really common moments throughout our day. So,
well, in those moments that were common that you did even without any forethought.
Exactly.
Time to make a meal. Here you go.
Yep.
Let's pop some toast in the toaster, and here's some orange juice, and all these things now really had a meaning.
Exactly.
And I can just imagine when you got home, you're thinking, now where is that nice nurse and that educational staff? Why didn't they come home with us? You're right, because it was on you guys.
Yep. It was a scary moment, but every step along the way, whether that was our team here at Gunderson or CMN helping with technology and other opportunities, our friends and family and our diabetes family that we have really created to wrap around us has been a wonderful support to get us through each day. And now that new normal is just normal for us.
You just said wonderful support. 16 calls is what we have right now. Can you guys believe it? Wow. We have 16 calls at 608-784-5437. It's the Radiothon. It's the Miracle Team helping us out from Dynamic Life Cycle Innovations. Bisek family is with us, and Mandy and Curtis and Sophie and Olivia is here. So what happened this last... I'm going to ask Sophie. Sophie, tell me about your summer. What did you get to do this summer?
Well, I went to a diabetes camp.
What's that called?
It was called Camp Needlepoint. I went for a week. It was a sleepover camp. And everyone there had type 1 diabetes, even all the counselors and everybody. And we just got to...
What did you do? What are some of the things you did?
Well, my favorite thing that we did was we did archery.
That was your favorite this year? Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you a good shot?
Yes.
Good girl. There you go.
We also went swimming. They have a little beach down there. We went kayaking, and we went on a pontoon ride.
So you were a normal kid.
Yep.
Normal kid with normal kids doing fun stuff for summer camp. Now I'm going to ask your mom a question. So a little help from Children's Miracle Network for Camp Needlepoint?
That was an amazing help for us. Okay. Camp is an experience like no other for Sophie. It's so fun to watch her come home, and the mixed emotions of having to leave camp because she's made so many wonderful friends, and that experience of her just being able to be a kid and to have other kids around her that are just like her, dealing with the same stuff, and it's just normal. It's just normal. She's not the kid
how
that
is
stands
your
out.
Emotions, Mom and Dad, when you're dropping her off for a week and you're in the car and all of a sudden there's an empty seat over there?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? This is what, the second?
This is her third year
third
at camp. Yeah.
Okay. The first camp, how did you guys feel when you dropped Sophie off?
Well, the first year they have different options, a sort of easier way into it. So the first year she just did a day camp, so we actually went and stayed for the week,
right.
And so she would just go until about 4 or 5 o'clock at night. Last year she decided to try and do the overnight, but she was able to do it just for a half a week. And she was really angry with us when we picked her up on Wednesday night, I think it was, because she wanted to do the whole week. She loved it so much. So it didn't take much to convince us to do it the full week this week. But as far as our experience, we were a wreck.
I wondered.
You know,
I wonder how that
and
went.
we're used to having her by us all the time and being able to take care of her if she needs it. And now she's somewhere else. But we know that she's extremely well cared for, so that helps tremendously.
Difficult, though, to leave her in the care of somebody else.
It really is. I will tell you, as the mom, Curtis is totally right. That first year of overnight camp, I was a sobbing mess. But this last year, even though it was an extended period of time, there's an ease about her being surrounded by people like her, by people who are like her, who are caring for her, who know this disease inside and out, doctors and nurses on staff. It's the first time that I think Curtis and I, as a parent of a child with diabetes, could rest at ease knowing that she's in good hands, which was a very foreign experience, I think, for us
It has
too.
such peace of mind for
It's
you.
huge.
Okay, another question for Sophie. Sophie, my dear, what are you wearing on the top of your arm? Can you tell me what that is?
It's my OmniPod.
Okay, and what does that do?
It delivers my insulin for me instead of having to take shots.
Now, I think you've probably added a little accessory to that.
Yes.
Can you tell me what you're wearing on top of that?
I added cheetah print duct tape to protect it from static, because if static zaps it, basically it malfunctions and stops working, so then I have to change it. So when you put duct tape over it, it protects it from the static.
So you know what I think you should do? Maybe the next time that you and Mom and Dad and Olivia go shopping, you should go to the duct tape department, because I've seen some new duct tape prints that are out there. I'm one of those people, and I don't know why, but I like to collect duct tape and different prints. So there's a really nice plaid that's out now. So yeah, you'll have to do some more.
Okay.
But smart idea. So who told you about that would be a protector, the duct tape?
Dr. Marquardt.
Okay, and we're going to be talking to her in about an hour.
Yes.
Okay, will that be one of the questions? We'll see. You have some questions already formulated. 608-784-KIDS 5437. We are on a roll. We have 19 calls. Let's hear it for the 19 calls. We're going to let those calls keep rolling in. It's Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations. John Stevenson is back there. We are not going to give him a cowbell next year. He really has learned how to ring it for a very short period of time. Thanks for coming in this morning. I know that there's probably other things that have, on your Saturday that you're probably taking time from. What's a normal weekend for you guys?
Oh my goodness.
Is there a normal weekend?
There isn't a normal weekend.
That's what
We're
I was
always
wondering.
doing something, aren't we?
Is it easy to just pick up and leave the house, or you have to think about things?
We have to think about some things. We've got a pretty good routine down now. Sophie carries a little backpack with all of her supplies that are pre-packed and ready to roll, anything we could possibly need. So it's nice to just pick up and go.
What's in the supply bag?
Do you want to say what's in your bag?
What's in your bag?
Well, I have some snacks just in case my glucose goes low.
What kind of snacks do you pack?
Fruit snacks and glucose tabs.
Okay. What else is in there?
I have my PDM for my OmniPod.
And I don't know what that means. What is that?
It is, what is PDM?
Personal diabetes manager. So it basically helps her to bolus her insulin from her insulin pump whenever she needs it.
You know, the education that you need. See, and right there. And for you to be able to, you were able to tell me that. I think if you thought about it for another second or two. What else is in your bag?
I have my phone to control my continuous glucose monitor. So it monitors my blood sugars, so I can just see it without having to take a finger prick.
9 years old, and look what she can tell me. Look what she can tell me. So much education that you all, as a family unit, has. It's just necessary. It's a part of life, isn't it? 608-784-KIDS, 608-784-5437. Sophie, you're not going anywhere. You're going to come back with us in just a little bit. I think what we'll do is we hit 20 calls.
All right.
Mandy, what would you say to somebody that's making the decision to, you know what, it's a Saturday morning, we're doing our normal thing, we don't have to worry about anything, we're just going to jump in the car and do a little shopping. What would you say to somebody making the decision to call in and make a pledge this morning? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, CMN has become such an amazing community to help our community, right? And, just like us, you never know when you're going to need it. So whether it's for someone else or for the potential that it could be you tomorrow, there are families out there in need. There are kids that are struggling, and CMN is there to help every step of the way. So whether it's a small or large donation, every little bit helps, for whether it's that meal voucher in the hospital or camp like Sophie was able to attend, or technology that helps with being able to monitor or help a child with a certain particular disease or disability. It's been an amazing community to be a part of, and we would just welcome anybody to assist with that.
For families, moms and dads, you just want the best for your family and for your children. Yeah. And I think sometimes you think, it's just not in the budget, but we would love for her to be able to go to camp. We would love for my child to have music therapy. And having to make these tough decisions based on a monetary budget, heart-wrenching. Exactly. But understanding that Children's Miracle Network, they can process your emotions. They understand. Mm-hmm. They understand. They're not judging. Absolutely. And you come in with a need. And really, we're not just saying this. It happens. They fulfill your needs.
It's so true. It's so true. Without batting an eye, which has been just so amazing. It's, like I said, a humbling experience to have to ask for help. But in those moments, they know what's important for your child and that you're trying to do your best. And they're there every step of the way.
Before we let you go, Sophie, would you do me one more favor? Would you ask people to give us a call, and then I want you to reach around here and see where the phone number is written down there?
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yep.
Can you ask people to call that number?
Sure. Please call at 608-784-KIDS. That's 608-784-5437.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you, guys. We'll be talking to you real soon. Don't go anywhere, Super Sophie. You're listening to the CMN Hospitals Radiothon. Put your money where the miracles are, a service of the La Crosse Media Group.
Yeah. 20 calls, and they're still coming in. 608-784-KIDS, 784-5437. That is the number that we want you to call. It is a really crunch time. It's a little after 9:30. We're only going until 2 this afternoon. You need to jump in. You need to be an angel for us. This is what we look for every year, is angels like you to call it. And now that we're kind of on the downhill side of it, we're watching the time evaporate. You need to get on the line with us to our Versity of Blood Center of Wisconsin phone line, 608-784-KIDS, 784-5437. Dynamic life cycle innovations. Working our phone banks this hour, working it hard. Please get on the phone with us, 608-784-KIDS, 784-5437 on the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals Radiothon right here on Kix 106.3.